Hey everyone. Okay, so under what circumstances do I think it's appropriate to sentence a youth as an adult? Um, in my opinion, I do believe that it's appropriate if this youth commits murder, or in cases if the youth is continuously committing crimes and continuing to cause harm to others, like over and over again or several times. If they've been in um, been to the juvenile detention center before previously multiple times, but are still continuing to cause harm to people, I do then believe that it's appropriate to charge them as an adult, and get that child off the streets. um, and for the next question, a specific maximum sentence for a juvenile. So, although the Supreme Court has prohibited like the death penalty for youth, for kids, I do also still believe that life without the possibility of parole is still extreme harsh for a child, who life is kind of just getting started. I do believe that it's still harsh, although I cannot think of a specific number on what I believe the maximum should be, because I don't want to say, okay, 20 years should be the maximum or 30 years should be the maximum, but then you get a rare case where this um, young kid is like committing a large amount of murders, and or yeah, committing large amount of murders over and over again, and then hey, he only can get 20 years. He probably killed 10 people and he only can have 20 years. So honestly, I don't have a maximum amount of years I think you should be sentenced, but I do believe that it should be according to each child. If this child has been in and out of jail and has committed murders, I do believe that maybe they should be charged as an adult and maybe get life without parole. But I don't have a set number because I believe that kids are totally different and cases are getting crazier by the day. So I do believe that it should be according to each child and their situation, and it should just go case by case. But I do believe, in my opinion, it should never be life without possible parole, especially not for a robbery. Um, Next question. So, how should society handle juveniles, offenders, in non homicide cases, just like Kenneth Young? So, I feel like society should treat a child that comes from a dysfunctional family like a growing child. In Kenneth's case, he came from a dysfunctional family, a mom who was dealing with substance abuse, and he was just lost, and he just happened to find love from an adult who was basically up to no good. I believe that they were extremely harsh on him, and he didn't get a chance to make a mistake and to be taught correctly, because one, he had nobody. From what I see, he didn't have anyone that was really pointing him in the right direction. He had no guidance. He didn't have his dad in his life, and his mom was not around. In some cases, he had to go find his mom. So I believe that society should have treated him like a child who made a, a bad mistake or a big mistake, and he should have been corrected as so and given another chance, to be a kid instead of having his whole life, his whole childhood taken away from him. Um, and the last question, the most appropriate resentence for Kenneth, in my opinion, um, after watching the documentary, I do believe that he should have been sent home after doing 11 years. And that's solely based on the defendant's testimony, even the prosecutors, and also, most importantly, I would say the victims. And a lot of things that stood out to me was that the victims themselves, well, there was one victim who said she was not ready for him to come to be home, but there was one victim who said that when the other guy was threatening her and saying that he was going to SA her, that Kenneth actually said, no, you cannot do that. Don't do that to her. And how he actually got the guys to leave. And also, they mentioned that this is from the victims themselves. The victims mentioned that he was kind of just a person that was standing there just getting the money. She stated that she could tell he didn't want to be there, that he shouldn't have been there. So if I believe that no one knows best, or no one can actually speak on the situation but the people who were actually there. So for the victims themselves to say that they believe that he shouldn't have been there, he didn't want to be there, and they felt like he was a good person who made a bad mistake at 15 years old, I do believe that the most appropriate resentence for him was that he should have got time served, and he should have went home, because it was an armed robbery that a 15-year-old did. And although they mentioned how his good behavior was expected and not rewarded, I do believe that it should have counted for something, because what he did, after being given a life sentence without parole, after no one wants to help you, if you're saying you're here for the rest of your life, what he did, like putting himself through school, that should have counted for something. Not saying that should be rewarded, but that should have definitely counted towards something. So I believe that he should have got time served, and the 11 years was more than enough of his life taken away for armed robbery, in a situation where he shouldn't even have been there, and where he was just there with another older adult who put him in that situation. And based off the background and the family he came from, that should have also been taken into consideration. He doesn't have his dad to tell him right from wrong. He barely has his mom. So yeah, I do believe that he shouldn't have been there for a total 26 years, I believe, or 21 years. But yeah, that's about it. Yeah, listen, thank you.